Hello. I've been wanting to make this video for the past month and a half, but I'm doing it now, and that's all that matters. I don't know where to start. I think let's just begin by saying that recently I've been trying to treat myself, like my entire life, as my project. So take this as like an introduction to why I'm going to be talking about this topic and why I've even been thinking about it at all. But I've gathered a few reference pieces that I've been meaning to show you. And I just want to talk about purpose and about finding your why in life, in work, and in your projects. This is very fluffy and won't make sense. I mean, no, it will make sense in a very surface level way, but I think stick around because it's actually it goes deeper than this in a messy way, and I don't know. I just wanted to give you a piece of my mind and show you where I've been at lately. So I think let's start off somewhere here. Okay, so you guys have probably seen this guy. If you haven't, you should watch this video. I think I've seen this video like 3 times, once on my own and twice in different classes. Like one time in high school, my teacher just pulled it up, and the other time was in a communication skills class in my university. And I was also like, okay, I think everyone already like knows where this is going, etc., etc., etc. And just to recap what the video is about, it basically talks about finding purpose in terms of your why. So everything that you do should start with your why, not the what you're doing, not the how you're doing it, but the why behind it. And this is sort of a very basic idea, but a very basic idea that I've been coming back to in the recent like weeks while I've been trying to figure out what I'm doing with these like next steps in my life, where I'm headed and all of that. And for context on my experience throughout like high school and now uni and even just like professional experiences around that is that I've been feeling really scattered. And I guess like I'll show this as like a visual illustration of that. Um, my entire life has been feeling like this creative process or whatever, where everything that I've ever done feels like a side quest, except there's no main storyline. And I've been having a really hard time with that because none of my experiences seem to fit into one, or at least that's how I felt. I felt like I was a professional swimmer at this point in my life. Then I made videos at this point in my life. Then I went into marketing and I'm doing an internship in that. I care about ads, but not really. I care about cinema, but also not fully because I quit after a year of film school. And like all of this feels like this like messy puzzle piece that I felt like everyone else was seeing. And the like feeling like this has all sorts of complication that you can imagine, like showing up to job interviews and not knowing exactly how to explain all the different things that you've done. And obviously when you feel like that, what you're going to tell people is that, you know, like, like I did a lot of different things in all the different directions, and you're not going to communicate a clear story if you don't know what that clear story is. And so I've been kind of like, I think, living in that reality of like, okay, like I have a super scattered profile. I'm a super scattered person. What am I even doing? And the reason why I was feeling like that in the first place, the reason why this like creative process thing is how I used to see my life two weeks ago, is because I think social media makes you cling to the labels of whether that's hobbies, careers, job titles, interests, makes you cling to like the sticker that you can put on yourself, like, hello, my name is blank and I do blank, right? And it's very simple so that people can understand it. And it's very boxy. Like you have to put yourself in a box in order for society to understand you. And in a way, yes, you do. But I just think that social media really gave us a misconception in terms of what that box has to be. And to go with this box metaphor, which I actually didn't prepare for, I don't have an illustration of a box, but to go with this box metaphor, I think we think of a box with a label like everything that goes in the bedroom, right? And it's like this very structured, I don't know, like a box that says, let's just say like utensils, and so you have only utensils in this one box, like objects of the same kind in one box. And you also, on the other hand, in the other realm of boxes, have a box with like all the memories that you kept in high school, let's say. And that box, sure, it belongs to a certain period. There's some kind of categorization behind it, but that box contains all sorts of different things, and what links them together is like the meaning, the like emotional or like geographical time related constraints or details around their existence. But those two boxes are very different, right? Like one contains a very boring set of things, and the other is kind of like an exploration, or like a box that you can explore. And so I think everything around how we've been seeing ourselves and perceiving our careers has been in this like simplified box of like, you have to, be a perfect marketing candidate, so you have to have all the marketing or finance or whatever like the alternative of that is, ticks on your resume. Like every experience has to fit into that exact same description, and build onto one another, but in that realm. And you can't step out of that realm, because if you do, you're scattered and you don't know what you're doing. And so that's kind of where I've been. I felt like I was trying to put a sticker on myself, but I wasn't sure of what sticker I wanted. And so I kept on putting different stickers of like creative strategist, marketing, I don't know what, like marketing advisor, student, like business student, film student, filmmaker, videographer, photographer, like content creator, like all these stickers. And not a single one really fit. Like after a while, I would miss the other stickers that I would have, right? Like I would wear the filmmaker sticker for a summer, and then realize actually I do care about like political science or like human rights. And I would feel weird, because then I have to take off this sticker and go for something else. And that feels like changing careers. And I was changing careers at such like a rapid rate, I guess you would say, that I just felt scattered. I felt like I was lost, and I felt like every month or so, like me and my friends would talk about this, like every month or so I would just like feel lost and feel a lack of direction, and feel like I was behind, because obviously you're behind in terms of filmmaking if you spent like the past 3 months focusing on something other than filmmaking. And that's, I think, the problem with a sticker. And so I think finding purpose in many ways is a creative process. And so this is kind of what you what you should expect it to look like, because from the moment that you expect it to look like this, you're not going to be disappointed when it doesn't look like a straight line. Okay, so now that we've touched on that, and by the way, I like make no promises in terms of going over every single one of these illustrations that I've picked. I want to talk about, let's go back to this one. And so I think the alternative that I have found, just to jump to straight to the chase and like get it over with, the alternative that I have found is actually looking for a different sticker, like altogether. Like don't try to, if you don't think that you're a kitchen utensil, if you don't think that you're a bed sheet as a category, like that's not your box. Maybe stop switching boxes of that kind. Like forget that you can be like a perfect filmmaker, a perfect content creator, a perfect finance person, like whatever that box is, forget it and move on to looking for the type of box that you would be able to fit in. And what I think that means is that if we look at the like LinkedIn titles that social media kind of like imposes on us, or like the niche rhetoric that content creators have online, what we're all talking about is the what in that circle over here. You can't see it clearly, but the 3 circles are like what, the first circle, then how, the second circle, and why, which is the core. And so if you stop hyperfixating on the what, like what are you, like what do you do? If you stop hyperfixating on that, what I think has really unlocked something within me is you can actually look at the why. And what that looks like for me is kind of like treating myself and my life as a research project. So if I might spend a year being a filmmaker, another year helping brands grow, communicate online, whatever, another year doing volunteering in the south of France or whatever, and then like different projects that don't really fit into any exact one thing. Treating myself as a researcher, even though I'm technically not, like, again, what do I know? I'm just like a student in uni, so maybe I will be, but whatever. Like the point is, right now, I'm not a researcher, nor do I have the intention purely to like become one. But treating everything that I do as part of one big research project, and again, your research can change and like can evolve over time, but treating it as a research project, meaning you're gonna make a movie. What are you gonna explore through that movie? You're gonna help brands grow. What are you gonna be exploring through that experience, right? What is your intention behind that? Because there might be a similarity. And again, I'm sure that there's going to be a person who's not going to find that similarity and who's going to have to go dig deeper. But there might be a similarity between your desire to make movies, your desire to travel the world and connect with people, your desire to understand the geopolitical, societal, sociological inner workings of the world, your desire to understand statistics and build financial models. Like maybe there's a why, and I would say like chances are there is a why behind all of that, that it connects them. It's like literally it becomes one thing that no matter what form your exploration takes, i.e. Filmmaking, financial models, traveling, there's a reason behind everything that you might want to do. And I think this is specifically relevant for like people who feel like they have so many interests, so many passions, so many skills, or like title card, what is it, like job cap, what is it called, like who wear many caps, I think is the expression, or something, whatever. But the point is, I think it especially is relevant to people who have many passions, because as a person, your curiosity always has like one main route, and that route might be very, very simple, like, oh, I want to I don't know, like I feel like even if you say like I want to build a better world, there's a why behind it, maybe, I don't know. And then again, it's like that reasoning behind it is unique to you. And again, it's the kind of thing, it comes down to the fact that like you need to feel like your reason, or like your what you do, like the answer to what you're doing in life, is something that's worth waking up at 5 a.m. for, and like actually like putting in the extra work outside of all the mandatory work of like life that you have to do. Why? Like why do you breathe? Why do you walk? Why do you like how do you pick a book that you're going to read? How do you pick an exhibition that you're going to go to, or a place that you're going to travel to? How do you pick all of that? And this is that find your why diagram in close up, just in case anyone needs it. And I think what you'll find is that even if your reasoning is like to become famous, or to go viral, or to succeed, or like, even if greatness is your end goal, it probably isn't, because there's something behind that greatness. There's something behind your desire for fame that drives you even towards that. Like, and this is where it becomes like a maybe a how. Maybe you feel like you'll get to your goal by becoming famous, by achieving greatness, whatever that means, by being successful, right? Why? Like, what's the point? Like, what is the point in succeeding in whatever you're trying to do today? And that might be you're applying to some kind of like competition or award, and you really want to win. Why? Like, what is the bigger picture behind all of that? And I think especially for multi-passionate people, that bigger picture is actually their home, where they feel most at home. And so that has kind of led me to this new chapter of my life where I felt scattered. And to illustrate that, in high school, so I must have been 17, I made this artwork that's part of a bigger exhibition that I did. I didn't want to take art in that year. It was my final year of school and I had no choice but to take that art class. I struggled a lot because I didn't know how to make art or do anything, but I made this exhibition surrounding human identity and repressed communities and all of these things. Um, this was irrelevant to my career, to even the classes that I actually picked in high school. But I had this like side quest type of project that I forgot about. And recently, in December, I think, or January, I wrote this piece um, about sort of the details of the experience of being a woman, the experience of living in a world with other women in a patriarchal context. And it's very different, not at all the same sort of like genre. It's also like a piece of writing, like a tiny poem, I would say, compared to the exhibition piece that I did before. Um, Same thing, I did this parallel to everything that I do. It's not at all my career. But I did it. And now that I have this new approach to thinking about my life and work, I kind of see the similarities. And this kind of has led me to this new chapter. I'm just giving myself as an example through all of this. It's like a disconnected piece from 2022, connected to a piece from 2025. And now today, with this new insight that I've found through like the different books I'm reading and different TED Talks I'm watching and all of that, I come to a place where like I realize I kind of have known what I wanted to do. I just haven't put the pieces together. I haven't tried to see the bigger picture behind the LinkedIn lines. And so I found this like why, which was that I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not a creative strategist. I'm not like a finance advisor. I'm not any of these things. I'm not even like a student. I'm a feminist. Like what I care about is women's issues, women's rights, and the sort of like the peripheries of that, meaning repressed communities, meaning freedom of speech, like feminism actually, and I actually saved something about this, because feminism hasn't, like this hasn't been at all an answer that I considered recently, but how do I zoom in? But feminism is sort of that thing, like women's experiences. And when I say like women's issues, it's obviously not exclusively women's issues, but like again, this is a conversation for another time. But I realize what I care about is this very people first focus on our society. So it's not only as a people first, but it's also in a social context. I want to understand the sociology behind gender norms, behind discrimination, behind prejudice, behind exclusion, erasure of communities, silence, freedom of speech, whatever it is, right? And I realized that that's my why, that everything else has just been an attempt to do that. The reason why I was interested in finance, or the reason I am interested in finance, is because I care about understanding finance to share it with communities that maybe don't, or to help artists that don't have access to, or just don't care enough to figure out the details of how to actually retain ownership or optimize their reach in the world and all these things, how to take a movie from a small town in Morocco and actually deliver it to distributors internationally, and how to sell from a financial standpoint, or even just like from a marketing and distribution standpoint, also how you would distribute that movie and actually communicate that to investors that could help deliver that movie to international audiences. Like all these things, the reason I cared about filmmaking is to showcase the silenced voices of communities all over the world. Like I don't care about filmmaking as a whole, as like a whole. I don't care about filmmaking as a thing to do, or like I mean, these are all nice things, and like I would be down to make like a not so deep horror movie just for fun, but that's not what drives me. That's not why I'm interested in this as an art form. Everything comes back down to my interest in the sociology, let's say, like of our world, of discrimination, of like subgroups and all of these things. But that's just my example. And I think what's interesting is that, especially in the world that we live in today, meaning with like technology and all these things, I was gonna say, here you go. Everyone's like worried about AI being replaced and all these things. And I think that also comes down to the fact that obviously if you label yourself as like your work title, it's very easy to feel scared that you're going to get replaced. Because if you're, let's say, like a project manager, which I'm not saying necessarily project managers are the first to go, but if you're a project manager and you realize AI can do your work, all of a sudden your cap, your little sticker, your identity card is being taken away from you or challenged, right? But if your identity is something that can't be taken away from you because it's something that's your curiosity, that's your research project, then you're essentially capitalizing on your humanity, and that no one can take away from you. Not a computer, not AI, not another human being, because your humanity is different from another person's humanity. It's like your unique self, and your uniqueness in this world, no matter how much technology advances and all of that, is going to be your interests and passions, like what drives your curiosity, I think. And I think purpose is about what drives your curiosity, not the format that you choose to explore it, because that can change. Maybe everything about the world as we know it changes. The only thing that you get to keep, that the only thing that you own and that can evolve but won't change fully, is your curiosity. Because again, you can like cinema today and music tomorrow, but whatever it is that you felt for movies will be somehow similar, or like an evolved version of that. It will be what you like about music. You know, like it's like your soul, essentially. And I think about how authors, use like an author's biography or Wikipedia page. An author's Wikipedia page is never blank was a writer, they wrote novellas, novels, and short stories. It's never that. It's always blank was a writer, focusing on, and then this is where their curiosity, their like research route, their focus as a human being, as an individual, as a researcher, as an author, that's where it stood. And I saved this book. This is kind of like off topic, a bit of a tangent, but I saved this book a while back. I saved it because I wanted to look into different symbols and what they mean. And notably, sometimes I use words and I'm like, why? Like, why that vocabulary? But actually it's from French, from notamment, which French is like my third language, so I don't know how. I've been working in French recently, that's why. But I've been drawing a lot of spirals, and I wanted to know like why, because I didn't really know what about a spiral was drawing me in. Like, I know a lot of my friends also have a hyperfixation on spirals, but aside that, there was something personal between me and those spirals that I was drawing. And I wanted to look into it. I did a bit, but that's kind of irrelevant for this conversation. But what I think is interesting about symbols and signs in general is kind of just that it's deeper than what it stands for. Kind of like a metaphor. A metaphor is like that secondary level. And I think what we need to be, like the liberation as an artistic spirit and as like a creative individual, I guess, I don't know, whatever it is. But liberation, even maybe as just as a person, liberation as a human stands in looking at the second, maybe third layer beneath what you do, what you want to be doing, and like why you exist. So it's not what job do you want to have. It's not even what work you want to be doing. It's really the why behind what are you exploring through the work. Like, why bother? Why, like, okay, you want to have this job because, like, let's say you want to be a filmmaker because you want to, let's just say you want to be a filmmaker. Second layer is you do want to go through the motions of making a movie. That's great. That's like the bare minimum if you want to be a filmmaker, right? But the third layer is like, why do you want to go through the motions of making the movie? Like, why bother doing that? Like, you're going to invest your time, energy, mental space, whatever, into that as an action for 2 years, let's say. Why? Like, why bother do anything? And I think that's where that answer lays. So, yeah, that's kind of where I've been at mentally. I hope this delivered some kind of help. I feel like I don't know. I really hope that this kind of communicated something. I'm a bit stressed because I'm actually like 30 minutes behind. I should be at work. I really shouldn't be saying this online. No, I'm kidding. I am working. But yeah, I hope that this can help you think differently about the purpose that you're looking for, or that we're all looking for. I hope you can feel a bit less scattered. And yeah, I mean, I barely went over anything, so hopefully we can do this again sometime. Bye bye. Have a nice one.